Good evening and welcome to the May 13th, 2025 regular meeting of the Jackson Township Council. Pursuant to the provision of the New Jersey Open Publics Meeting Act, adequate notice of this meeting was properly provided by transmitting the notice of the meeting on January 28, 2025 for publication. Notice of this meeting of the Township Council has been posted in the corridor of the municipal building and in the office of the municipal clerk. We'll begin with a roll call. Councilman Borelli?
Here.
Councilman Sargent? Absent?
Yes, he did notify me earlier that he wasn't feeling well.
Councilman Palmieri?
Present.
Council Vice President Bernstein?
Here.
Council President Kuhn?
Here.
Also present this evening is Township Attorney, Mr. McGuckin, myself, Township Clerk Martin, and Deputy Clerk Jen Corrali. The next item for tonight's meeting is an update from the Department of Public Works, Mr. Sean Belinsky. Council President Kuhn?
Thank you. Jackson Township DPW Sean Polinsky would like to update the upgrades to the Field of Dreams playgrounds are complete. The playground is open for the children to enjoy. DPW is working on the removal of the site work on Johnson Park. Playground construction is set to begin next week. Our Clean Community Spring cleanup event was a huge success. We had 245 participants, collected 173 bags of litter, and rewarded participant groups with a total of $14,500 in mini grants. I would like to thank everyone that volunteered their time to help keep Jackson clean. Our bulk and brush collection is right on schedule. We appreciate the cooperation of all residents in placing curbside neat within the guidelines. Effective 5/12, we will be unable to accept waste oil at our township transfer station while undergoing repairs and cleaning. Residents may bring their waste oil to the Northern Recycling Center located at 601 New Hampshire Avenue in Lakewood. And this is just a reminder and announcement. On June 10th, the meeting is rescheduled to June 12th due to our primary election, and this room, the council room, will be used. So again, we are rescheduling that meeting to June 12th, which is Thursday, same time, same place. Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Thank you. The next item on tonight's meeting is the proclamation portion. Council President Kuhn?
Yes, hi. So as you can see, we have a bunch of amazing young athletes here from our Jackson Wrestling, Lady Jag wrestlers, along with Assemblyman Sawicki, and we collectively, together with your coach, would like to give you certificates and proclamations. So we're going to call your number. Assemblyman, if you can come up, and Coach, if you can come up.
I know, I don't care.
No, that's the.
Can I move it? It's on wheels.
Ask him on the loudspeaker. Say, can we move it?
I'd like to propose, I'd like to make a
A
motion.
motion to move, to move,
Okay,
to move the vote, to redecorate?
I guess this is turning into a
Can I get a motion to move Alex, can I get a motion to move this? Just so. To move the. I'm teasing. I got a bunch of us.
And the Jackson police band.
All right, I got all your hands.
Thank you, everyone.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yes. Our next presentation is going to be with JCP&L. Mr. Price. We're just going to let the ladies get out, or not get out, but leave, exit. It's a play on words.
Are you on the Assembly Committee? Oversight. Hello, Mr. Bryce. How are you?
How are you? Good to meet you.
Good to see you, yes.
Yes.
There's a face behind the text message.
Yes.
Are we ready to go back into session? Yes, oh, sorry, okay. Hello, sir. Thank you for coming. We appreciate it. We have a representative from JCP&L here, Mr. Robert Bryce. He has a presentation up on the wall, on the screen, so that we can have a presentation going while council is going to ask a couple questions. This is going to be a 5-minute presentation. I do have a couple questions that I've prepared. If you want to do maybe a 2-minute opener, and then I'll go into the questions, and then we're not going to take any resident questions right now, but at the end, if they have any questions, if you're still here, you can answer them. If not, I'll take note of them, and I'll email them to you if you could kindly just answer any questions that they might have. I know that there was a resident that was here, but looks like, oh, there she is. I didn't see her. Okay. So at the end.
We had a good discussion so far.
That's what
about
I
the
figured.
street,
I
yes.
didn't see her over there, so I thought maybe that her answers were, that she had got some answers, but I see she's still there, so. Go ahead, if you want to do opening comments, and then I'll go through with the questions.
Okay, I want to thank you tonight for inviting me.
No, thank you for coming.
What we're talking about at your request is what residents are going to see come June 1st, an increase in their electric bills. And I'd like to go ahead and explain what the root cause of that is. Up on the screen right here, I have a picture of a bill. It's important for residents to realize that there's 2 charges on your bill. One is generation, one is distribution. JCP&L is a distribution company only. After 1999, with deregulation, New Jersey was one of many states that deregulated utilities. they separated distribution and generation. So a distribution company such as JCP&L can no longer be involved in the generation of power. It's totally separate. On that bill, you'll see two different charges. JCP&L, we deliver it. We're the delivery people. We're the Uber people that bring the food to the house. The generation people, they're the restaurants that produce the food. So as of right now, JCP&L, within the last 4 years, has only had one increase of 3.6%. That kicked in last June 1st after we went before the Board of Public Utilities and had a rate case hearing. In that rate case hearing, they discussed everything we needed, projects, operating costs, and determined that a 3.6% increase was reasonable. Again, that was our only increase within the last 4 years. Up until now, even, we don't have an increase this year. Last June 1st also, what happened was, it was the first of several what's called BGS, or Basic Generation Service, increases. That is determined by the wholesale auction that the Board of Public Utilities oversees for the generation costs. Generation costs are administered by a company called PJM, Pennsylvania, Jersey, Maryland, but it oversees many more than that. It sees 13 states and the District of Columbia. It is the biggest grid provider in the United States of America and oversees about 70 million residents of the country. So they oversee the preparation of the bid to the Board of Public Utilities for the wholesale auction. What happened last year, there was an increase that resulted in I believe, an 8.7% increase.
On a total bill?
Yes. in the
Okay,
total
that's a
bill.
lot. That's a-
Yeah. I'm sorry, Tony,
I know I'm
can you
getting
go
calls
to-
from residents. I just want to go back to what, just a couple
Yeah.
comments before you said, because we said this is going to be a Q&A, not really
Yep.
a PowerPoint. So you're saying that you're the Uber driver, right? To
Yes.
our electric. So there's a high fee in the Uber driver. So that's why you don't use Uber,
All right,
right?
bad example then.
Well, I'm just saying, like, that's, you said it was not me, but I'm just saying, I mean, do you
Yeah,
really want to be an
so-
Uber driver? Because you know what? I would just drive myself and save that fee.
So Tony, can you go to the next chart too, please?
No? I am. I'm trying to understand before we get boggled down into, because and last year there's a fee, this year's a fee, I'm seeing.
So
is-
what we continue to charge is, we
Okay.
had, again, our increase in our delivery charge was 3.6% last year.
Okay,
On June 1st as well, the basic generation cost increased 8.7%. What's going to happen this year on June 1st is there's a 19.9% increase that all goes to the basic generation. These two charges that you see, the 8.7% and the 19.9, are going to combine June 1st for probably a 32.2% increase since last June in the electric bill. JCP&L is only responsible for 3.6%, or a little over 10% of that charge. The rest of it is a pass-through. We see nothing with that we just collected for the basic generation services for the. Go ahead.
so, yeah, so it's the BGS rates, it says default rate for non-shopping customers.
Yes.
So is that something that you can shop for different, as you said, restaurants that you could go to? And
Yes.
keep you as my Uber driver, right?
Yep.
Because you just got real cheap, so I'm back to Uber, all right? I'm not driving myself. So if I'm going to go and I want to shop restaurants, if I want to go to a 3-star, I'm still going to get the same electric that I'm getting at a 5-star, I'm just
Yes.
using a different provider, correct?
Yes, so what our charge is it's the default charge, if someone
Correct.
chooses not to go with a third
Yeah.
party. Now, again, before we leave, I'll just touch on third parties real quick,
Okay.
but,
I'm interested in the third parties because I understand
okay,
it.
I'll touch on it now then. So-
Yeah, whatever can save people money, I think that's what they're going to be asking about. This is a great presentation, so I do take it back.
So what we
It's a
want
great
to do is,
PowerPoint.
we can't recommend someone does or doesn't go to a third-party provider. So what we do, though, is tell them, do your due diligence,
Mm-hmm.
please. There's good ones out there, and there's bad ones out there. The first thing I recommend is go with one that you know somebody is already with. There could be, we're starting to hear right now, because sharks smell blood in the water, there's a lot of people coming out of the woodwork. So we want
imagine.
people, a lot of
I'm worried
people
about
are
our senior citizens, to be honest with you.
yeah, a lot of people are talking about getting calls unsolicited, so we want people to be aware. Please do your due diligence. Look into it and make sure that you're going with a reputable. And again, we can't tell you who to go with and who not to, but all I can tell you is know somebody else that has good experience with that company.
Can you give us any recommendations that we could possibly put on our township website of companies that you know?
So I'll give you this and
Okay.
and a couple tips we have. The first
Okay.
thing is, it's just like any other bait and switch that you get with
That's what I'm
anything
worried
else.
about.
Watch the introductory rates. Look for the terms of the contract. Don't sign into a real long contract. Again, the biggest thing going back to, and this is what I keep going, find out somebody that's had good experience with the company for a long term. And that's probably your best, source of a reference for that company. Watch out for fees, because they may have the certain charges. Find out what the monthly fee is and go with that. Now, the other thing that is out there is municipal aggregation, where towns have been going out getting, soliciting fees from providers. Towns are not having success lately finding anything cheaper than the default charge that we have. I know Manchester just went through it. I believe 2 years in a row Manchester went through it. They had it for many years. It expired the end of '23. I believe in '24 they tried it to get a new bid, and I believe this year they did too. Plumstead also is another local larger town that had municipal aggregation, but again, they're not using it because they're not finding a cheaper service out there. So,
Council
Yeah.
President?
Absolutely.
Oh.
Please, Councilman.
So I guess it's almost like a two-part question, or maybe a statement. So I like the fact that you started off by saying your distribution, because the rates are going up in generation, and you didn't want to get killed with questions as to why, if you're not involved in generation. Who is the main generation that you distribute? Is it this, like, where do you get it?
So we get
Where is
it
the energy
all,
coming from?
we get it all through the wholesale auction. It comes through PJM. So PJM has many different providers and generation companies. It's nuclear, it's coal, it's gas turbine, it's hydroelectric. They have many different sources that they get it off of. Here's where the issue is going on. It's just like any other supply and demand issue. Demand for electricity is going up for electric vehicles. Data centers is a huge consumption, but the supply is going down. The reason the supply is going down, a lot of plants are going offline. Gas, coal, they're going offline. They're not being,
Why? Is that just the governor's energy policy?
so not our governor, because again, these are all regional. So it is
Our governor.
administered by FERC. So FERC has certain guidelines on a lot of these plants as far as useful life. So a lot of them are ending their useful life. They're entering 20, 30 years. So they can't be considered for the auction anymore. There's a certain limit on it. And then just as far as the cost of running those plants.
So when something goes offline, there's no backup plan to, and nuclear, doesn't that last a very long time? Like, there's no backup plan to fulfill that gap, because we're going up 20%. Like, what would the strategy be, and why are we so
We're going
behind?
up 39%. We're going up.
Why, what's the backup?
32.
What was
32,
So
but
what
sorry.
is the
it's still-
backup plan?
Still very
This is
Well,
not
significant.
why
taken.
wasn't
Yes,
there
still
no
very
backup plan?
significant.
Who plans this? Is it JCP&L? Is it the third party? Is it the state of New Jersey? Who
No,
plans?
so this is out of JCP&L's hands at this point. This falls kind of under Federal Energy Regulatory Commission for running the generation facilities. It goes through PJM. Now, again, to give PJM a little bit of a pass here, by FERC guidelines, PJM is a zero profit pass-through entity as well. They get none of the,
So
it
who is making all the profit? Because it seems like everybody's a pass-through.
would be on the generation side.
Okay.
It would be on the generation side.
So New Jersey is
So-
using more energy than it's producing, and that's why we're paying a lot more money.
So I think I could cast that net wider. I think the nation is using more energy than it's producing.
I have a question. Do you think that this is pushing people to go to solar? It's an effort to make, because solar, I think, is a different process, correct?
Individual solar
Yeah.
or, it may. I mean, that's an individual.
Just, I mean,
Choice,
I'm not
but-
a fan of solar
but I'm
personally.
Yeah, I'm going to go back to the same advice I gave for.
To check on, there,
third
it's,
par-
well, I'm
yeah.
just saying, you had said that, I'm
Yeah.
just saying, because I know if it starts getting, I'm worried about our senior citizens, I'm worried about them
Mm-hmm.
getting, the calls and this and that, and you're gonna save money, just like what happened with solar, people going door to door, and all of a
Yeah.
sudden you sign up, and next thing you know, you have, solar panels, and you have a roof that's no good, and you have
Yeah,
this
this
contract that
morning-
you're in that you can't even get rid of.
On this morning's news, they had about a big company.
Oh,
that
I
services
I
the
didn't see, but
tri-state
yeah,
area
it's
that-
it's just a thing.
That is, yeah.
I'm going to, I thank you. Yeah, I just want to give council all a chance to ask some comments and ask some questions, and then I'm going to wrap it up. just
So in
to get
addition,
people
I
on.
have a video, 4-minute video, kind of compressed of what I'm presenting to you with a lot of other information too. And we're going to provide that to you. You can put that on the municipal website.
We're going to put that on the town website, Madam Clerk, if we can, that video, if we could put it on the
I
township.
had one more.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely,
You
ask
go.
questions.
So first of all, thank you for coming down. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
It's good to finally meet you.
Yes.
Our bills are going up. It's not a secret. We're working on some of our infrastructure upgrades, and one of the, I'll use the word excuses that continuously comes up is, well, they're JCP&L poles. To get those poles moved, it's 12 months, 18 months, 24 months. We've been involved in various things over the years. As taxpayers, we're paying a lot of money. Are you guys internally in JCP&L growing your workforce and your teams based on, like, where's all the money going?
So the first thing is, are you talking about road widening projects?
Well, everything.
For the poles?
I mean, everything.
Or-
It's not a secret. There's parts
Also,
of town
for
that
any
doesn't have
service.
enough power when there's a storm that goes down. I mean, if not for the fact that you're reachable, we'd still be out from the last storm.
Like, if you need a pole changed and the project's going in and they're pushing it back, eminent domain, whatever, and they're pushing it
Yeah.
back, it takes 2 years to get a new pole
Or
there.
if when we have a storm and people lose power, which we've had, and if not for the fact that Mr. Bryce answers his phone, we would probably still have blackouts in parts of town. It would just, it takes days to get anyone on the phone.
So.
I know it's
I'm gonna
separate
just
than
touch
the
on that
rates,
real
but.
quick. Our storm restoration in the last 6 months, I want to say, has made tremendous strides. And I'm going to tell you why. The company, and by the company, don't forget, JCP&L is part of First Energy, a 5-state,
sure.
entity with 10 different companies within it. But as far as both First Energy and JCP&L, in the last 2 years, we've had significant leadership change, starting with the leadership out in Ohio under First Energy, and then trickling down with new people put in most key positions, up into and including our new president and vice president here in New Jersey. We are making tremendous strides. As far as, and for those of you who don't know, what my role is during a storm is to communicate with, emergency services and the elected officials. The information that's become available to me and the information I'm passing on is better information in the respect that it's quicker, but also it's good news I'm delivering. I'm delivering a lot more restoration more rapidly to people. And there's a lot of steps that we've taken with that. It's on the management side. It's how we address the issues. And we're definitely making progress on that. And we're going to continue to. We just had a reorganization where, we did have some people let go from the company. We had some people reassigned. And that was one of the first phases of the new management taking place. What they're also going to be doing is bringing on additional people in other areas. One of the key areas being linemen that they're going to be bringing on. They're introducing a new apprenticeship program for new linemen to bring them into the company. So we're definitely making a lot of big steps with this new leadership in place.
Thank you.
And again, I
Any
repeat,
other-
tso you're always reachable no matter what time of the day it is.
We
so
do appreciate that. Any other
No,
questions on
thank you.
the
I
council?
appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate
Okay.
your time.
Thank you. And I'm available any other time you need me to come. to
Thank
the
you.
meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
During public comment, and then if he's not here, I'll write, during public comment, and then if he's not here, I'll write it down and we'll get you an answer.
Thank you, Council President Kuhn. Are there any additional comments before we move on to the next agenda item?
We just have council opening comments, right? Okay, so, okay. I just want to take a few moments to share what's been going on around town since our last meeting. We've had some great community events recently, things that really brought people together and showed the strong spirit of our town. We had opening day for our United as One Jackson Holbrook Little League, and it was great to see so many people and families come out to support and enjoy a great day of baseball. We also launched our farmers market, which was a huge success, with over 100 people showed up within the first 15 minutes. That said, I have received some concerns about the location. I hope our recreation department can work with our police department to review the feedback, especially regarding traffic and safety concerns to our residents. With the summer months coming up, we also need to make sure that the Justice Complex parks and fields are available to use while still supporting the farmers market. From what I understand, from the police department, recommendation has been made to relocate the market to as well as our summer concert series to Johnson Park. I'm sure the Recreation Department is already reviewing this, and if I hear any updates, I'll be sure to share them with the residents. I also wanted to take a moment to express my deep concerns about the situation with our Jackson Food Pantry. The food pantry reached out to me, Joy from the food pantry reached out to me on Friday afternoon and over the weekend. At my request, I had Joy send me an email to set the record straight. There has been a lot of misinformation circling around on Facebook, and it's a shame that our mayor would blame the council for a decision that only the administration has the authority to make. We as a council do not have the power to relocate or shut down the food pantry. However, we do have voices, and we do advocate for the food pantry to have a permanent, secure location and a forever home. I know some of my fellow council members will be speaking on this as well, but I wanted to make a strong call to action. This nonprofit organization feeds around 180 families, and what's happening right now is simply not right. I've reached out to the township engineer to see if we can identify a new permanent and suitable location for the pantry to operate from. This is something that we must get right, not just for the organization, but for the residents who rely on it. I want to go through a couple emails, so bear with me. I do have traffic and safety real quick. Brewers Bridge Road, they had it out from April 18th to April 24th. The average percentage was 45 miles an hour, 40 miles an hour, I'm sorry. The road was 45, and there was 8,051 cars on that road daily. So 8,000 cars daily. Nature Boulevard, between April 10th and April 16th, the average speed was 34 miles an hour, or 38 miles an hour, and there was 1,914 vehicles on that road daily. So the next thing I want to get into is some emails. Okay, so on April 10th, I sent an email to the mayor saying, this is not allowed according to the this is policy and procedures. Mayor, this is not allowed according to the employee handbook, correct? Why are these issues not being addressed by the administration when the business administrator, as you can see, we have no mayor and we have no business administrator, nor an assistant business administrator at this meeting. I don't think we've had a mayor here in a year. Exactly your words to me were, and this is in an email to him, because he stated it right to me, there's a new sheriff in town. So I'm asking him, where are you at? Because you're not here and you're not answering your emails or your concerns of your residents, and it's a problem. So after that, the follow-up I did, he gave to me, which I don't understand. It said, it was the same day at 10 o'clock at night, Council President, thank you for your offer. I didn't make you an offer. I asked you to show up. After the Passover holiday, I would like to invite you and Council Vice President to meet and discuss all the issues and gaps that have slowed down the challenges we face as the governing body. Okay? So that I got. Then I said, Mayor, can we get something on the calendar? What works for you? That was on, he sent me an email on May 10th. I never heard from him. So on May 14th, I sent him an email following up. Then again, I sent another email, and I did it with high importance. And I said, Mayor, just following up here, this is April 24th. Never heard anything. So then I hear from him on April 20th. That was 10 days in between. Then I hear from him at 3 o'clock. We should be able to meet one day next week and catch up. I have not heard from the mayor since April 24th at 3 o'clock. So I just want to set the record straight on that, because I'm not going to be lied about. Next thing we have is what happened with our emails. So our town had email our email was down for 4 days. It's unacceptable. It's absolutely unacceptable. Our police department had no emails. Our council had no emails. Our administration, our professionals that are township employees had no emails and had no communication with the administration. Finally, on Wednesday at 9 o'clock in the morning, and anybody can contest from the clerk's office, I went in and I sat down with our business administrator, and I don't need to look at these emails to say what I'm going to say, because I know it's the truth. I went into Ms. Novak and I said, we need to address our department heads. I know in this form of government, I'm not allowed to walk into every office and do it, but I'm going to do it because they need to know what's going on. People are concerned. They have no idea, why do we not have emails? We're being told that it was a global outing for Microsoft. Then we were told we were hacked. No answers, no communication, asking, Has the prosecutor's office been notified? Has the FBI been notified? You have our police, you have our personal clerk's documents. Nobody knew what was going on. We got no answer. So then finally, Samantha said, Ms. Novak said she would go. We went to every department. After we visited the police department, and Director Candido's here, and he can contest to my phone call, I asked him, can you please call the mayor and maybe get your IT guy over to our IT guy so they can work together and get this email up? And I want to thank you personally, Director Candido, and your IT guy, because I know after about 2 hours from our phone call, first the guy was over there in 20 minutes, and within 2 hours, our whole town had our email up. So then Vice President, Councilman Bernstein, and myself continued to ask, what happened? How is this? What's going on? There'll be a third-party investigation. We still have not heard what happened to our emails, and it is not acceptable. Do we have encrypted emails? What do we have going on? What kind of systems are we using? Are we upgrading them? We have internet. Every department has internet issues. So again, that is the truth about that. Next thing we're going to go into is open space. So I've asked for an audit of our open space money. There's things that I'm seeing on the bill list now that I have to sign it because we have no business administrator. So I'm the second signatures on all the bills. So I get to see exactly what's going on. I've been questioning it, and I have that right? I'm the council president. We are council. We are the purse to the town, right? So we have to really look and see where our money's going. So I'm questioning, where is it all going? So I did not get an audit request that I had asked for, but I got a statement of the account. I looked over it. I'm not an accountant. I briefly looked over it, and I did question. There was a $2.1 million levy that was put into. Didn't understand it, so I did call our new CFO. She graciously explained it to me and said that was from taxes that was put in, and that was put in November 11th on 2024. Then I was going through, and I'm looking at all of this money that we're spending on these beautiful, beautiful, beautiful parks, and I think it's amazing. And I think the kids are happy. I'm seeing them all play. I visit them. I look at them. They're gorgeous. But why are we not using grant money? Why? Because we got denied for grant money this year. We lost a grant for $750,000. That's why I'm starting looking. I'm saying, why are we constantly spending our open space money for parks when we have grants? We have millions of dollars out there. It's because we can't get approval for a lot of these grants because we're in compliance for over a decade. There's things, Vista Center, Johnson Park, there's things that we are in compliance for, and if there's anything, if we don't dot an I or cross a T, we're getting denied. And yes, again, we did get denied for $750,000. So I think that's why the last year and a half, there hasn't been grants submitted. We've been using our open space money because I personally believe that administration knew, and this is our previous Mr. Wall, that we were not going to get approved for these grants, that we were going to get denied. So instead of doing that, spend the open space money that our taxpayers are putting in there instead of preserving land. Next, I will say on a positive note, I did get the number that's going into here that we can start preserving more land for 2025 is $4,329,360.24. So that will bring, with the total that we have, about 3.9 in there right now. So we will start bringing it back, but we want to use grant money. I'm on a call every month for 2 different departments with their grant writers trying to get grant money, and I think we all need to just really start looking in, and that's what this council is doing, and that's what DOGE is about. It's about looking into where your money is going as taxpayers, and I think it's very important. That goes into the budget. So Councilman Bernstein and myself had a meeting with the auditors, the interim CFO, and the new CFO. And we sat there for, I'm going to say, an hour and a half to 2 hours and went through everything. So in the audit book, which I do have, okay, this is the book, all right? This is what your auditor does. I read it and look into it. We found $1.4 million, give or take, of funded unused money from ordinances that were approved since 2007. That's $1.4 million of improvements that could have been made that is sitting in an account that is not used. That's unacceptable. We cannot have that. So I know, if I'm going to ask questions, I'm going to keep asking until I can get some answers. And thankfully, we do have an interim CFO, a new CFO, and an auditor that was ready, willing, and able to answer all of our questions. So I am not going to go into the additional fundings that we had found and stuff like that, but I will save that for the next meeting because I don't want to, keep everybody here forever. But the last thing is, is the grants. I did get a recap on the grant money. We are trying to look for infrastructure for grants for our police department and also for our EMS, which our chief is back there. And I just want to make a little statement in regards to him, and he is going to be a guest speaker at our next meeting, so I would hope you all would come and support him. Our EMS is struggling. It's been talked about before, and, this council and, we're going to put pressure on the administration. We don't want to lose our EMS, okay? It's not mandated. I've said it before. It's an honor that we have them, but that's why we do have him on our grant meetings, and if there's anything that we can do. It is paid by the township, but I have them on there because I feel that, it's very important that they need new equipment, they need new apparatus, they need a lot of new stuff. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Council Vice President Bernstein.
Thank you, Madam Clerk, and thank you, Deputy Clerk, for being here also. And I see other members of our clerk's office in the crowd also, so thank you, all of you. Really, after Council President, I don't have that much to add, but I'll just mention a couple of things. I want to thank Commissioner Sadeghi, Mr. Reese, and Mr. Jenke for coming down and meeting myself and the Council President and some residents on Bartley Road. The county has continued their commitment to do more for Jackson. They are looking at some infrastructure and safety upgrades. Right now, they're doing a full throttle study together with our professionals from TNM on Bartley Road. And we continue to encourage residents to email any member of council with any issues that you notice. And we will definitely continue to forward it to the county and continue to put pressure on our county officials to continue providing for Jackson. In conjunction with that, I just want to really echo what Council President said. There's a resolution supporting a Resolution 164-2025, full compliance with the Development of Jackson Efficiency Initiative. Again, I just want to repeat, I think I said this by the last meeting, the purpose of this initiative is not, no one up here, at least myself I'm speaking for, has alleged corruption. What we're asking for is every once in a while oversight is required, oversight is needed. On the agenda is actually a resolution to start a sidewalk project for Bethel Church Road. It's going to be over $1 million project. Our town is desperately in need, especially with some of the state cuts for more sidewalk infrastructure. And it's something which is very much needed. When it came up about 2 years ago, or a year and a half ago when I first got on council, I was told there is no money in the budget for it, Councilman. Wait till next year. When the initial budget came out for 2025 and we got it in our mailboxes about 3 weeks ago, there was nothing in there to address this growing need. So council felt this, and members of council feel that sidewalk infrastructure is necessary. When we sat with our auditors and our temporary CFO, we realized actually the money was sitting there in the account, it just hadn't been used. We're not in the business of saving money. We're in the business of utilizing our tax money for infrastructure upgrades and for safety initiatives. So I'm very happy to see that by oversighting and doing what our job as council is and working together, we're able to discover areas where we could possibly save money. Additionally, I just want to take also a moment to thank Assemblyman Sawicki, former Council President Sawicki. I used to come back to those meetings when he was here, and it's great to see you back here again. And anyone ever watches any of the hearings from our wonderful friends down in Trenton, the Assemblyman is a great friend and advocate for all of Jackson residents fighting for our fair share for our schools. And I'm sure I don't want to steal Giuseppe's thunder, but we appreciate you coming down here. We look forward to seeing you here again.
Thank you, sir.
A couple of other quick things. I just wanted to mention, there was also a meeting in Town Hall about a week and a half ago with members of law enforcement and members of the council president, together with Mr. Kravitz from the LSTA, brought in all the private school vendors, making sure that everyone's on the same page and has same understanding of do's and don'ts in Jackson Township. And I think it was a great meeting. It was long overdue, and looking forward to continued cooperation between residents, vendors, schools, and everyone else who travels through our town, making sure that everyone gets to and from school and works safely. Thank you and have a good night.
Councilman Borelli.
Thank you. Much congratulations to the Jackson Lady JAG wrestlers who were here earlier. Like your parents and coaches, our town is very proud of you and your accomplishments, and we hope they keep up the great and amazing teamwork, and we're sure that they will. It's also good to see Assemblyman Sawicki here to present them with a proclamation. I want to thank you for your efforts in Trenton, speaking out on the best interests of our town. Also, as Council President Kuhn had mentioned before, our township is actively pursuing more permanent place, a venue for a food pantry. Want to ensure that the township is doing that diligently. We're providing and meeting a very important need in our town. And Memorial Day is coming up. Just want to encourage you all to join us at our township's annual Memorial Day Parade, which is on Monday, May 26th, to honor our veterans and fallen heroes who made the ultimate sacrifice. It's always a great and solemn event, and hopefully we'll get great weather for it. The parade route, as every year, starts at Holman Elementary School. It goes down Manhattan Street and into Johnson Park, and that will be followed by a memorial ceremony in the park. There will be food vendors, giveaways, live music, children's activities again this year. Anyone in participating as a vendor or participating in the parade on Memorial Day can please reach out to Sergeant Mike Basso at mbasso@jacksontwpnj.net. Thank you and have a good evening.
Councilman Palmieri.
Thank you. I'd also like to congratulate the Jackson Lady Jags wrestling team as well as their coaches. I'd like to welcome everyone here this evening, and I'd like to just welcome Assemblyman Sawicki, who's a fierce advocate for Jackson. I watch him every chance I get, and he is like a lion in the state for us. Over the weekend, I was contacted by residents and saw posts on social media regarding the closure of the food pantry here in Jackson. Like many of you, this news took me by surprise, and I'm sure it did the same for my colleagues on the council. While this issue does not fall directly under the purview of the Township Council and is instead an administrative matter, we have been asked to assist, and we will, just as we have in the past with other matters that technically fall outside of our jurisdiction. There are times when people question why the council steps into areas that aren't traditionally ours. But the reality is, when the council doesn't engage, too often things fall through the cracks, and that's not acceptable. Not when a vital resource like a food pantry is at stake. So we are doing what we must to help find a solution, and we will continue to do what's necessary to keep the government moving forward. But again, we must all work as a team, and I know this council is prepared and willing to do so. Thank you.
Council President, could I add one thing, something I forgot to mention? I really want to take a moment. Two of my colleagues here are very humble. About a month ago, or even before that, we got word that there were issues in the food pantry, and I know Councilman Palmieri and Councilwoman really took it upon themselves with some of the rodents that were there. Unfortunately, there were emails before that were ignored, and it took a little bit of pictures and other gross things to make that change. Immediately after that was discovered, Councilman, I think it was Palmieri, reached out to the Board of Ed, and the Board of Ed was actually at that point able, more than willing to host a food pantry. Unfortunately, administration wanted them to stay locally within the senior center. Council President, I'm just going to finish for a second. I received a phone call around 5:45 from actually one of the Board of Ed members on Friday, and I usually try not to take phone calls so close to sundown. And it was in a panic, really. It was, call me, Morty, right away. We have an issue with the food pantry. They were given notice that they have to shut down. Immediately, I told her, please reach out to Giuseppe. She's like, I did already, and I just want to make sure council is aware of it. And when I turned my phone back on right after sundown, I had missed calls already from council president and from my colleagues, and they really, really are taking it seriously. And I know it's been multiple conversations. I had a conversation with Councilman Borelli today about it, just seeing what we can do, and council definitely supports our food pantry. But I really, a special kudos to my colleagues for spending their whole weekend trying to find ideas on how to accommodate them. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Council President Kunis. Anything further by council?
No, Madam Clerk.
Thank you. The next item of business is the second reading and public hearing of Ordinance 2025-11, introduced on April 22nd, 2025. Ordinance 2025-11, amending and supplementing Chapter 3 of the Township Code of the Township of Jackson entitled Administration of Government. At this time, if any member of the public has any comments to make, please address the council at the microphone and state your name and address clearly for the record. You'll have 5 minutes and may only speak once. May I have a motion to open public comment?
Motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion approved.
Seeing no one come, someone is coming forward.
How you doing? My name's Cliff Talmadge. You guys are sitting here. Gentleman from JCPL comes up here and tells us we're going to have a 32%.
Sir, this is only on the ordinance. This is an open
I
comment.
understand that, but you're not asking the right questions.
I know, but we can't do this. This is out of order. We have to go by the ordinance. So right now, we're having open to pass an ordinance. Once it comes to open comment, you can come back up.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, it's just the wrong time. It's almost there. It's almost there. We just got to go through these ordinances.
Okay, seeing no one come forward on this ordinance, make a motion to close public comment?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? May I have a motion to adopt ordinance 2025-11?
Motion?
Second.
Councilman Borelli?
Yes.
Councilman Palmieri?
Yes.
Council Vice President Bernstein?
Yes.
Council President Kuhn?
Yes.
Motion approved. The next item of business is the second reading and public hearing of ordinance 2025-12. This ordinance was introduced on 4/22/2025. Ordinance 2025-12, amending Chapter 103-62, Schedule 18, speed limits, to include an additional street to be subject to a 25-mile-an-hour speed limit. At this time, if any member of the public has any comments to make, please address the council at the microphone and state your name and address clearly for the record. You will have 5 minutes and may only speak once. May I have a motion to open public comment?
Motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion approved.
Yes, ma'am.
Seeing no one come forward, I make a motion to close public comment?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion approved. May I have a motion to adopt ordinance 2025-12?
Motion? Second?
Councilman Borelli?
Yes.
Councilman Palmieri?
Yes.
Council Vice President Bernstein?
Yes.
Council President Kuhn?
Yes.
Thank you. The next item of business is the first reading and introduction of ordinance 2025-14. 2025-14, amending Chapter 3101.1 entitled Director of Public Safety. Council President Kuhn, are there any comments?
Yes. Uh-oh. So this is a reintroduction. There was an error that was found by a resident that came up to our last meeting in the language and the way it was directed, that it has to be, the ordinance amends the Public Safety Director ordinance to establish the Safety Director as the appoint authority instead of the Township Business Administrator. As you see, we don't have one. So we are updating it, and now it will be corrected. So we're reintroducing it for the first reading.
Thank you.
Motion?
May I have a motion to table 2025-13, ordinance entitled Director of Public Safety?
Motion to table?
Just to be clear, so she's tabling the one that we introduced last time, so that's no longer on the table, and then we're reintroducing the new one, just to be for clarity. And yes, second.
Councilman Borelli?
Yes.
Councilman Palmieri?
Yes.
Council Vice President Bernstein?
Yes.
Council President Kuhn?
Yes.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments by the Township Council regarding ordinance 2025-14 introduction?
Yeah, motion to accept.
Motion to accept?
Yep.
Okay.
I'll make motion to accept.
I'm sorry, can I have a second? Second. Councilman Borelli?
Yes.
Councilman Palmieri?
Yes.
Council Vice President Bernstein?
Yes.
Council President Kuhn?
Yes.
The next item of business is the first reading and introduction of ordinance 2025-15. Ordinance 2025-15, amending and supplementing Chapter 244 of the Township Code of the Township of Jackson entitled Land Use and Development Regulation, as to amend 244-32 entitled Performance, Safety, and Stabilization and Temporary Certificate of Occupancy Guarantees, and 244-34 entitled Approval of Performance Guarantees. Council President Kuhn, are there any comments on ordinance 2025-15?
I'm going to ask our attorney to please read. 15 or 16? Oh, this is yours, the bond one? Oh, sorry. Okay, so this is the ordinance. This ordinance is Chapter 24-4 for the Township Code amending. This section requires developers to file a performance guarantee with the township engineer before receiving a final plat approval, recording subdivision deed, site plan approval, or a zoning permit.
Council President, can I ask a question?
Yeah.
How did this one come about?
I'm going to actually let the Madam Clerk answer that, as it came about from her office and finding a couple gaps of, there's quite a few. There's actually going to be 4 ordinances that are removing things that should not be in the clerk's office and then putting them in the proper departments, such as our engineering department. I guess I can go into section 2, is going to outline the duties of the municipal courts, which includes collecting fees based on the township engineer certificates, placing the bond approvals on the township council agenda, submitting documents to the council, and maintaining all original documents. None of the above that's in section 1 is not the duties of the clerk, and we want to keep the clerk, she's very, very busy office, and we want to give her the duties that she has, and everybody else should get the duties that should be in their departments. Therefore, we have no gaps.
So again, to clarify, this removes it from the clerk's office,
Yes, we
the
removed it
engineers.
to the engineers department.
which are the ones who are actually involved with development.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. May I have a motion to approve ordinance 2025-15 on the first reading and introduction to authorize the notice of the public hearing to be held on May 27, 2025?
Motion.
Second.
Councilman Borelli?
Yes.
Councilman Palmieri?
Yes.
Council Vice President Bernstein?
Yes.
Council President Kuhn?
Yes.
Thank you. The next item of business is the first reading and introduction of ordinance 2025-16. Ordinance 2025-16, amending and supplementing Chapter 244 of the Township Code entitled Land Use and Development Regulations, Article 7, Pinelands Area Requirements. Council President Kuhn, are there any comments?
I'm going to let our council answer.
This ordinance revises a previously adopted ordinance that established standards for the development of private schools and houses of worship with or without a residential component in the Pineland zones. This ordinance arises from comments and recommendations that were received from the New Jersey Pinelands Commission as part of its ordinance review process and addresses such issues as building height, accessory versus conditional use designation, building density, and septic standards.
Thank you, sir.
May I have a motion to approve ordinance 2025-16 on first reading and introduction to authorize the notice of public hearing to be held on May 27, 2025?
Motion?
Second.
Councilman Borelli?
Regarding ordinance 16-2025, my continuing concern in particular is the impact it would have on the environmentally sensitive Pinelands areas in our town of Jackson, particularly the residential housing component. We don't know the number of units, campuses, that it could be, potential impact that it could have on Jackson's Pinelands environment in existing residential areas and neighborhoods nearby. Also, I can't vote on something I don't have definitive information on. I voted no for something similar when it came to the non-Pinelands areas of our town, and we'll do the same here on the Pinelands ordinance in this case. So I vote no.
Councilman Palmieri?
I would just like to comment and say the Pinelands ordinance has been under review for several years, long before any of us on this current council, with the exception of Councilman Borelli, began our service. The initial negotiations were led by then Council President Fleming and later continued under Council President Chisholm, ultimately resulting in an agreement. After years of effort and good faith negotiations by prior councils, I cannot in good conscience disregard the groundwork that has been laid. I vote yes.
Council Vice President Bernstein?
Yes.
Council President Kuhn?
I just want to make a statement to Councilman Borelli's statement that he wasn't informed and didn't know the information. I've pushed this off. I had an executive meeting to this ordinance alone for any questions and answers. I have given this council, I wanted to make sure that Councilman Palmieri also wanted him to be educated. So we had our attorney come in and literally, we designated an entire half hour to this ordinance. So I find that insulting that you would say that you didn't have time and you weren't informed enough, because I take pride in informing you guys on every single thing that goes on this agenda. I never ask you how to vote. I never say how to vote. I just say, is there any questions or can I get you any more information? So I do say respectfully that was insulting. I vote yes.
Council President,
Yes, sir.
we all have a vote up here on the council dais,
I'm
which
just-
Jackson residents entrusted us with, and I'm exercising it.
Thank you.
I don't care for you criticizing me if I'm not voting in the affirmative along with my council mates. We're going to have disagreements from time to time, but I think that was just disrespectful for what you just said, too. So, thank you.
You're welcome.
Council President, I have a question for the attorney.
Yes.
The previous council negotiated this, I was under the impression, and they signed off with the DOJ and NJAG in regards to this prior to this coming here?
That's correct. We actually adopted an ordinance about 2 years, a year and a half ago, for both the non-Pinelands area and the Pinelands area of the municipality at one time. Those ordinances were approved by the Department of Justice, the private action plaintiffs, and the New Jersey Division of Civil Rights. The ordinance as to the non-Pinelands, as to the Pinelands areas requires approval by the Pinelands Commission before it can take effect. Pinelands Commission entered into negotiations with the township, which have gone on for well over a year, as to changes they wanted to see with respect to the non-Pinelands areas. Those changes have been forwarded to the Department of Justice. The Department of Justice has indicated they have no objection to that, nor did the private action plaintiffs. So this is basically the cleanup of the ordinance that was previously done, based only upon the Pinelands Commission's concerns that they raised.
Now, could you just go a little further in? Now, this was, again, negotiated by a previous council, but it's here with us now, and it was approved by the DOJ and the NJAG, I'm sorry. If we were to not vote for this, what would the ramifications be if this got shot down this evening? Please tell us for the town to hear.
Well, if there were not sufficient votes to introduce the ordinance, I am sure the Department of Justice and the Division of Civil Rights and the private action plaintiffs may wish to reinstitute the litigation that had previously been resolved, because this is a condition of those settlements.
Okay, so this could have been extremely costly for us.
If the ordinance was never adopted, it could become costly and more litigation. That's correct.
Thank you.
Can I just, Council President, can I ask a
Yeah,
quick question?
please. Either you ask it or I'm going to
Yeah,
ask it.
okay, I'm just going to ask a
So-
question. I recently reviewed the budget. There was a line item in there that really stood out, that actually made our budget extremely difficult for us to balance for this coming year. It was like $2.4 million or $2.5 million that
2.2.
$2.2 million that we paid out. Who was that paid out to? Mr. McGuckin?
I don't know which line. I'm sorry, you're talking about
We're talking about the settlement.
Two,
the portion of it. Part of it went to the Department of Justice. Part of it went to the private action plaintiffs. A good portion of it went to their attorneys.
did that include the part that we paid our attorneys, like for the regular legal work that you and Mr.?
I'd have to look at the line. I do not know.
So my understanding after speaking to our professionals was that it does, and it just includes what was paid out to the others,
I would imagine that
to the litigants.
your fees would have been under the.
Different line item.
Yes.
Right, okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anything further, Council President?
No, ma'am. Thank you.
The next item of business,
Based on my question.
the next item of business is the payment authorization, bills and claims. I would like to note the following extensions, including Councilman Borelli's, AET 01, DEL 01, NJM 06, RUT 14, and TRE 08. Are there any questions or comments by the Township Council?
Yes, Madam Clerk. So I have questions that are going back, and just for transparency, I was asking today when I got the bills and claims and was reviewing it. There's a bill on here for Civic Plus for our recreation software. Our recreation department has an employee and a clerk in there. And it's for $8,773.44. So I asked this department, and I said, can you please let me know what you use Civic Plus for in recreation? The response was, hello and good morning. I wanted to share some information about Civic Plus software. It is the most up-to-date software available and offers many advanced capabilities for recreation management. Our department has been utilizing it, and we have found it to be highly effective. So my reply was, thank you. I'm seeking clarity regarding the Civic Plus software and how the Recreation Department utilizes it to justify the annual expenditure of $8,733.44. Could you please provide me some examples on how the program is used and how long the department has been using it? Additionally, does Civic Plus integrate with any other software systems? If you could please be specific. This is on the bills list for tonight's meeting, and I'd like to appreciate a response prior to the meeting. So I am going to ask my fellow council members, I would like to table this and not pay it until we can get some clarity, especially since the ordinance was just passed for our recreation to no longer be its own department, and it will be under DPW. And DPW will be now looking over the bills and the claims and anything that is done with the recreation, the farmer's market, where their concerts are. That will be the head of that department, and everything, the final approvals will be coming from DPW, as well as the senior center, just to kind of just keep everybody moving forward and growing, but growing properly and not wasting taxpayers' money. And again, if I could make a motion to table, I guess, what do? I do the number? P 02051, and it goes to Civic Plus in the amount of $8,773.44. I'm not saying I don't want to pay this bill, I just want to get some clarity that there's no other department, as far as I know, in my due diligence, there's no other department that is utilizing this. And I have to say, I am not seeing $8,000 a year worth of, I guess, I don't know if it's Mark, I don't know what it is.
Well, Council President, I would also like to find out, for $8,700, if the only department using it is recreations, there must be multiple users that are can be used, hopefully. If so, maybe other departments would be able to use it if they so chose.
I would love so. I know our clerk's office doesn't have any of these programs, and we are the hub of the town. So I would hope that maybe we could get, we got a copier, so maybe we'll get some Civil Plus. So I'm going to make a motion for that to be removed from the bills and
Second.
claims. Thank you.
Councilman Borelli?
Yes.
Councilman Palmieri?
Yes.
Council Vice President Bernstein?
Yes.
Council President Kuhn?
Yes to having that removed, and yes to the rest to be paid.
Thank you.
Oh, never mind, I
Was
wasn't
that a
called yet.
separate?
Sorry.
I think
That
we're
was
just a
separate.
motion to.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any additional comments?
No, ma'am, thank you.
May I have a motion to approve the bills, lists, and claims with the extensions noted and tabling the Civic Plus P 2402051?
Motion.
Second.
Councilman Borelli?
Abstain on the bill vendor numbers that you had mentioned, and yes to the rest on the bills and claims agenda.
Councilman Palmieri?
Yes.
Council Vice President Bernstein?
Yes.
Council President Kuhn?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion approved. The next item on the agenda is the consent agenda listed for tonight's consideration are resolutions 164 through 181, 2025, listed by title. Are there any comments, Council President Kuhn?
Yes. Would you like to go first, or you want me to read my thing? It's up to you.
You could go first.
No, I always go first. If you want to go first, you can go first.
Okay, thank you, wow. I just want to take a moment and really thank some of our professionals. We were initially trying to get some grant money for some of the sidewalk infrastructure. I think the town actually has a federal grant for I think it's from the NJDOT, sorry, from the state, to repave Bethel Church, and we didn't want to have to break it up twice, so we were rushing to get a federal grant. Unfortunately, by our last 2 grant meetings ago, the last one I was unable to attend, we were informed that we would not be able to get the federal grant, or better yet, it would take between 10 to 12 years or something long like that to
7.
possibly get some of the infrastructure for that road. So we are applying for some federal grants for other roadways in town that may not have an immediate need now, but we're foreseeing in the future we'll have safety issues, so we're putting that in. So I appreciate that. A special thank you also to Council President. I rotate on those calls, but any other council member is more than happy. I'm more than welcome to sit in on those monthly calls in order to make sure that we're engaging with our colleagues, with our team. And a special thank you to Mr. Belinsky, Director Candido, and TNM for joining in on those calls, trying to utilize every dollar we could. Also, a special thank you for our 171-2025, which is an agreement with the Board of Ed. I think the Councilman Giuseppe, I'm sure you'll talk about that in a second, but I appreciate all the hard work that went into that one. And the last one I just wanted to bring a special shine a light onto is our 166-2025, which is a traffic calming options for Pitney Lane. I received an email about 6-7 weeks ago from a resident. He forwarded me over 2.5 years of emails that he was being ignored on. And as soon as we reached out to our engineers and our PD, they right away said, no, this is an issue. We are going to be introducing an ordinance to make parking on one side of Pitney Lane, in addition to the traffic calming measures, which I'm hoping we can maybe get out to the public, which are going to include striping and I think speed signs and other things that hopefully increase enforcement. So I appreciate all the hard work that went into getting some of these resolutions together, so thank you.
That's it. All right, I have a speech that I want to make regarding the Department of Jackson Efficiency, our DOJ, but I first want to say Assemblyman Sawicki, I never got to say thank you so much for coming and joining us and giving out the proclamations and your awards. Thank you for recognizing and always showing up to council meetings and to Jackson events and the Jackson residents. So we appreciate you seeing you, especially, I know you're a busy man, so we appreciate that. Also, the men and women in the back, our Young Explorers, our Jackson Explorers program, Resolution 173-2025, and I want to recognize Director Candido and Officer Musha. I know I'm saying that right. But he reached out to me, and I reached out to the CFO, and the problem what's going on and what we're knowing is the right people are reaching out when they're getting denied for grants. So our poor explorers back there lost their grant money, and we had 10 of these young men and women that want to join and be, officers one day, and their grant money was gone, and it's about $750 a kid. And if you can look at those kids, I'm so looking at their faces, we're so excited that we were able to find the money, work with the town, and get you guys into the program. And I look forward to, in a couple years, hopefully swearing you guys in and you guys being men and women of the Jackson Police Department. And thank you for coming and standing back there so quietly during the meeting. We really appreciate you. And we will be looking for grant money. We've added you guys into our list when I speak with Director Candido. So thank you again for coming and being so respectful to saying, that's a great way of saying thank you. You don't have to say thank you, you just have to show up. So I appreciate that. And so does the council. So now we're going into Resolution 164-2025, DOGE, the Department of Jackson Efficiency. Tonight I'm proud to speak in several important resolutions that reflect our commitment to transparency, safety, and environmental responsibility, and overall efficiency under the Department of Jackson Efficiency, DOGE. Resolution 164-2025 urges full compliance with the DOGE initiative, reinforcing our mission to hold departments accountable and ensuring long-standing issues are finally addressed. Take Johnson Park, for example. It's essentially a landfill that has been neglected for years. Resolution 169-2025 directly addresses this by assigning a project to T&M associated to manage the solid waste landfill closure and permit application process. This is the kind of action that DOGE is designated to do and to bring forward after years of inaction. We also have the Vista Center, where a grant opportunity was lost simply because it wasn't properly handled. Again, under our current mayor's tenure. This is a long over a decade that has just been ignored, and we're not addressing it. There are missing opportunities that DOGE is working to prevent this going forward. Resolution 165-25 authorized an agreement with T&M Associated for engineering services related to the Major Green Acres division, focusing on Jackson Mills compost facility and Camp Joy project. Another long overdue item finally getting the attention it deserves. Resolution 166-2025 moves forward with the plans to improve traffic safety by authorizing bids and the engineers serving in the traffic calming options on Pitney Lane. It's a bad intersection there. R67-2025 assigns a project to T&M associated for designing and construction oversight of new curbs and sidewalks along Bethel Church, improving infrastructure and pedestrian safety. Resolution 168-2025 engages French and Parallel Associates to perform monitoring and testing at the former Legler landfill, ensuring environmental compliance and public safety. We're just ignoring that as well. Together, these resolutions reflect the proactive steps we are taking to move Jackson forward through real action, not just words. I urge my colleagues to support these measures in full alignment with the goals of the DOGE and the expectations of our residents. Thank you.
Council President, if I could
Yes.
just finish up one thing before I'm sure my colleagues have anything to say. So I was looking earlier online at the form of government, and the statute is very clear. Any council member may any time require a report on any aspect of the government or of the municipality by making a written request to the mayor. And that's really what we're doing. We're asking for documents. We have an idea of why things are being made. I think the perfect example is last council meeting, council passed a resolution saying moving ROVA forward. ROVA had stalled. I had sat on that committee last year where we were told there were environmental restraints that said it never could be built. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, that just wasn't true. That's not accurate. ROVA could be built. It just took a will. It took away, and yes, it will take time. We should have, as a town, applied for some of the DEP permits over 2 years ago, but no one filed those permits. So unfortunately, nothing ever happened. Everything that the residents had been promised, everything that had been designed, I think, again, the Assemblyman, I think when he was councilman, started that project. And we're hoping that that project will move forward this year. I know this year Nino and Jennifer are the liaisons to that committee, but there's absolutely no reason why that project hasn't moved forward in 2 years. So I was proud of the fact that we were able to research it, get the documents, and then council does have the power and the ability to put things on the agenda if other aspects of the government don't want it to move forward. So we were sick and tired of waiting, and we're proud to fulfill the promise that previous governments made, and we weren't going to let politics get in the way. Thank you.
I just want to add to that, understanding what we could do, and as long as we had a proposal from a professional, we could get it on the agenda. So that's why you have 6 or 7 of the cleanups on this agenda all at one, because we don't want any of our professionals to be told that they can no longer send us proposals. So now that we have everything, we put it all on one agenda, and we will move forward, and we will get this done. And that's why we've been looking over the budget and going over. So these are the underlying things that you guys don't know, that we truly are thinking about. We do care about your taxpayers' money, and we do look into everything. And just alone finding $1.4 million in capital, and even the people in the room were like, yeah. So, thank you.
If I can, yeah, I'm just going to expand upon just a little bit on Resolution 171, which is the shared service agreement between the Jackson Township and the Jackson Board of Ed. It's the use of the township's cellular tower. This is a simple resolution with a great impact. The Board of Ed received a grant, and they can upgrade their CB radios at their 2 transportation depots as well as all of their buses. But they were told that the best way to get the widest reach would be on a cell tower. So they reached out to administration, and administration did approve that, and it got on our agenda. And we are going to vote on that, and what that will do is, it will allow for very old CB radios to be all upgraded. They can have a better use throughout all of Jackson, which is 100 square miles, and even further. And not only that, but this will allow for a bus now to have a direct line to the police department emergency services. Before, they'd have to call the depot, and then the depot would have to call in an emergency. So now it's direct, it's faster, and it's just all in all safer for the students riding those buses. That's for Resolution 171. And I do also want to touch on Resolution 164, which is the DOGE. And the purpose of the DOGE resolution is to provide greater transparency, not just for the council, but for all of Jackson residents. It opens the door for meaningful conversation and better understanding across departments. One area where the Jackson DOGE has already proven helpful is in our ongoing budget review. We received the proposed budget just a few weeks ago, and the Budget Committee met, as my colleague said, just last week to discuss it. And during that meeting, they advocated for several different important changes. One change I personally pushed for is to have the municipal budget cover the salaries of the 2 school resource officers currently utilized by the Jackson Board of Education. Doing so would save the school district approximately $234,000, money that could be redirected towards future student programs and services, while still ensuring student safety through council support. And I'm excited to announce, and I came here actually an hour early to get the revised budget, which is here, and I was looking through it, and it's in there now. Now, hopefully it stays there, but it's in there. So that would do a great service to the Board of Ed.
Councilman, that's
And
another conversation that we have to have next
and
meeting.
assisting the Board of Ed, which is very important. So this is just one example of how collaboration and transparency, not control, could lead to better outcomes for our entire community. And just to say, this is a line item. So to reference something, I want to make sure Mr. Director Candido is aware of, this is not taking away from the police budget. He will still be able to hire his new officers. This is a line item of separate support so we could keep the Jackson school system safe, as well as hire our new officers and keep our whole town safe. So it's really important. Thank you.
I just would we have to add a new resolution that was left off the agenda. I'm going to let the attorney take it from here.
Sure, it'll be Resolution 182-2025, a resolution authorizing a grading license, soil export permit, and execution of a stormwater basin agreement, 217 Brewers Bridge Road, Block 14101, lots 19 and 21, Cahal, Jackson Pines Corporation. Whereas in accordance with approvals previously received from the Jackson Township Planning Board, the township has received a proposed stormwater basin agreement for this property and an application for a grading license soil export permit. Where said agreement has been approved by the township attorney and a license application has been approved by the township engineer. Whereas the performance and maintenance guarantees for this project have been submitted in an acceptable form, and therefore be resolved that the mayor, township clerk, and such other officials of the township as may be required are hereby authorized to execute said stormwater basin agreement and grading license soil export permit. Be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution should be forwarded to the following: 1, Charles Cunliffe, township engineer; Sandra Martin, township clerk; Hal Jackson, Pines Corporation; Park East Management contractor.
May I have a motion?
Do we have to accept it?
Motion, it's a motion on everything or just a motion?
It just,
Yeah.
it just gets, it gets
Oh,
added to.
So I'll make a motion to accept all.
Yeah. I second that.
Councilman Borelli?
Yes.
Councilman Palmieri?
Yes.
Council Vice President Bernstein?
Yes.
Council President Kuhn?
Yes.
Motion approved, thank you. At this time, if any member of the public has any comments to make, please address the council at the microphone and state your name and address clearly for the record. You'll have 5 minutes and may only speak once.
All right.
Anthony, if you could just get the clock up there?
Start before the clock, yeah.
You
You can start.
you could start. The clock's just gonna, we're just waiting for
What?
the clock.
I'm sorry.
Say your name.
Just say
My
your
name is
name.
Cliff Talmadge. I came here for another reason, but I didn't notice gentleman from JCP&L was here. You guys are all sitting there asking some minor questions, which tells me you really don't know anything about the cogens and how they operate. The question you should be asking the man is, okay, our electric's going to go up 32%, approximately, give or take a few pennies. Well, I know for a fact, I've been to their cogens, and some of them are no longer in existence. They've taken them out, and he sat here and told you guys. Some of them age out. Well, here's the question you should be asking. Why haven't any of them been rebuilt? Why haven't any of them been replaced? I know. of a
Sir, you have
couple.
to address your comments to
Well,
the
I'm just saying,
council.
I know of a couple that aren't existing anymore. I've been to them. And a lot of that has to do with the present administration, or past administration, the Biden administration to be exact. Well, we can't have coal, we can't have fossil fuels, and they're gone. But they weren't replaced with anything. So this is the reason why our electric bills are going to go up, because they can't produce what we need. That whole BS that they were feeding the public, sitting there saying, oh, electric cars are the way to go. The batteries aren't what they need to be. The electric grid can't handle that. And if anybody has anything they can prove otherwise, I'm telling you this is for a fact. I've seen it. I've been to these cogens. There's not 100 people working at a cogen. You go there, there's maybe, I'll say 10 at the most I've ever seen. They were coal-fired, they're gone. They were natural gas-fired, they're gone. What has JCP&L done to help produce more energy? Nothing. They're following what the administration told them to do. President Trump has came in and said, we're going to use coal, we're going to use gas, we're going to use natural gas. Why aren't they petitioning the government and saying, we have a need right now, an immediate need, to get these things built and get them done? Instead of, no, the easy way is, well, we got to deal what we got to deal with here, and that might cost us a couple dollars to have to do, so we're not going to do it. We'll just keep raising the prices. Well, you know what's funny about everything? Water bill's gone up, sewer bill's gone up, electric bill's gone up, gas bill's gone up. How many people's paychecks have gone up to keep up with the inflation? None. You work for somebody, unless you're a white-collar worker, you're getting pennies on a dollar for a raise. Ooh, there's a big raise. Can't even buy a loaf of bread. But there's nobody addressing what these companies are doing. Justify a 32% raise. Justify it. Tell me where that number came from. Oh, well, it's not JCP&L, it's our distributors, our producers of power. Why are you allowing that to happen? Why are you not doing something cost-effective, cost-cutting? Why aren't you building new cogens? These are the questions that need to be asked of the people. Not just sit here and say, well, you know, this, and this, and well, I guess we're getting a 32% raise. That's nonsense. I know Jackson's only one part of the state. A lot of your problem here, and you guys need to know this, and you probably do, you just don't admit to it. The problem here is the state government. The problem here is the Democrats and their stupid agenda. They don't give a damn about any of us. And you can see that every day. Murphy is a joke. I can't wait for the guy to go. I happen to know things about him none of you know, because I used to live by him. For people to put people like that in office, you're a blithering idiot. I'm not saying Trump's the world's savior here. He's not. And the last thing I'm going to say is, and I'm going to direct it to all of you, and you can throw me out afterwards. If you guys got inter-office squabbles, do it behind closed doors. It's unprofessional. We know that the mayor's not here, the administrator's not here. Hell, every time I've came here, there's been nobody sitting over there. But when you guys sit there and actually belittle each other and downgrade everything, and, oh, well, this one's not here again as usual, you make yourselves look like children. This is the public. Very few of us are here, but we're the public. We're having you people in office to help get this city straightened out. Don't make yourself look like fools. You got a problem with each other, go behind closed doors, have it out, hash it out, call each other anything you want. When you walk out, you're still council people, and you need to act professional. That's not professional what you guys were doing, any of this. So that's what I have to say.
Thank you, sir.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I came here to talk about Oprah obstruction, but I got thrown for a little bit of a
Can you
loop.
just say your name first?
Yeah. I'm
Edwin
sorry.
Kaufman.
Oh,
I got thrown for a little bit of loop with the talk about the mayor. There are options to deal with that empty seat, and I understand that one of them is a recall petition. And I'm going to ask my Jackson neighbors for 2 co-sponsors, and I'm going to get a notice of intention sent to the clerk. I'm going to see what I can do about getting that chair filled, because not having a mayor here is unacceptable. Not getting things done, equally unacceptable. Also, the talk about the alleged hack or the email going down. Nobody has to worry about it being reported, because I sent a letter to the New Jersey State Police Cyber Team Unit and the FBI and asked them to look into it, because conveniently the obstruction of my Oprahs coincided with the email crashing, literally the same day, if not the day after that expiration date hit. I find it pretty convenient that the tax assessor and the reevaluation plan resulted in my property being reevaluated from $400,000 to $920,000. That's $520,000 more. I sent an Oprah. I was very specific of what I wanted because I did my research. I got nothing. I was told there were no records. The tax assessor did a revaluation on my property, and there were no documents. So how did they come up with that formula? What numbers did they use? What comps did they use? I got an email with some Oprah information. I guess that the clerk's office or the town thought they had to send me something. And it was a commingled mess. It wasn't just regarding my tax issue and the revaluation. But in that, I found some emails that I think I might not have been intended to get. One of them was the vice president here saying that all Oprah is going to go through outside counsel. Why is that? Why would this town use taxpayer money to pay outside counsel to review Oprahs that I'm legally entitled to? That attorney reached back to me and denied my Oprah request. She does not possess the authority to do that. So the clerk's authority was passed on to the vice president and outside counsel. And they, in writing, obstructed my legal right to find out what exactly is going on. And in that email dump that I got, I have some very disturbing emails that, again, I don't think I was intended to get. There were conversations going on between an engineer, I believe a developer, could be a realtor, but it appears to me that my property was targeted. Why, I don't know. There's development going on around me. I get a lot of phone calls. I get a lot of offers. Are you willing to sell? I'm not. I'm not going anywhere. But it's very disturbing to me to know that the clerk's authority is being handed off to others. And the process of getting anything from this town is like pulling teeth. I send emails. I hear mention about residents sending emails. We finally got to them. I've been here for 10 years. Nobody in this town has ever answered any of my email. I went to the school board during COVID. I told the entire school board what they were doing wrong. Nobody answered. Nobody listened. And after everything went by and they realized most of what they were doing was nonsense, a few of them admitted that I was right. But again, no one answers. We have a house painter for a mayor that doesn't show up. I'm going to see what I can do to fix that. During COVID, I was the guy in the orange hoodie that stood there and told them all that they weren't doing their job and that they were tormenting our children over things that were not true. They refused to listen to science and deal with any of it and protect our kids. They made them wear masks, they tormented them, they psychologically damaged them, and nobody would answer me. And I don't understand what it takes to get people that get into a position and are expected to answer to us, to actually answer. I don't ask silly questions, I don't rant, I don't rave. I send very specific questions because I do my research. I know right now, based on what you said about the mayor, it took me 3 minutes to sit there and look it up. I know what the process is to remove him. Maybe it'll happen. I might be the guy in the orange hoodie sitting in that chair one day if somebody co-sponsors what I'm about to do, because I'm going to do it. I don't say anything I don't mean. I told everyone I reached out to what was going to happen. This is the
So-
lawsuit you're going to get.
Thank you. I just would like to make, and I just want to make a comment to, you spoke with me. I just want to confirm, because you
I
say
did.
that nobody ever responded to you, and I responded to you right away because you put your number on there. So,
With respect, you called me initially because of the wording I used in an email,
yes,
forewarning me not to come here and be disrespectful or curse, and I told you
Yes.
that's not who I am.
correct.
I would never come here and be disrespectful.
No,
I
you just
sent
said,
an email
yeah.
because I'm getting responses from attorneys who are obstructing me. They don't have the legal right to do that.
But I did, I just want
You
to,
did.
I just said, listen, come to the meeting, please come and do, I said, the only thing I said, please don't talk about our families and curse
And I would
us and
never
yell at
do
us.
that, 'cause I would
Exactly,
never-
and that's exactly what you said.
would
But I
never
just
want
want,
anybody to do it to
just
me.
want to put it on the record, I did call you
And I
because I
appreciate that.
responded to it.
But
And I
again,
appreciate you taking
respectfully,
your
I think
time.
that I got the call because of the wording I used, but there's sometimes where I say something because I want that reaction. I
Yeah.
wanted somebody to pick up the phone.
I did it because I'm council president and it was going to be my agenda. What you were going through was none of my, that was between you and the attorney. But thank you.
I appreciate you calling.
Thank you, sir.
Could I just ask
Have a
one
great
quick
night.
question? How long have your issues been going on for?
Oh, it's been on for a long time.
6 months, a year, or 2?
One of them is close to a year. No responsive records from the tax assessor.
The Oprah request was submitted, it was responded to. We believe that response was appropriate. I understand Mr. Kaufman is not satisfied with that response, but it is the appropriate response.
No
As a
responsive
tax
records from the tax
as a tax
assessor is
attorney,
ludicrous.
As a tax attorney's office, the municipal clerk often refers legal issues regarding Oprah, because there are numerous exceptions, all of which are based on case law, and we do provide legal advice to the clerk with respect to those Oprah requests when needed, and that's what we did here.
Thank you, sir.
Council President, if I could just say something for my colleagues on council, just so to be aware of. When the clerk came in, there was an abundance of Oprahs, over 450 Oprahs, and a lot of them were not being responded to. So council provided her ample support. We reached out to Mr. McGuckin. We asked if we could add additional legal help so we can get responses earlier. So actually that email that you're referencing, and I'm more than happy to discuss it later, was actually an offer to the clerk letting her know that there's more legal teams available to help her, and that Mr. McGuckin is our municipal attorney, and that there's extra additional lawyers to help. So
Thank
it
you
was
for
to
that
help
clarity.
transparency.
Yes.
Jim Slockia. First, in regards to
the
the
clock.
ordinance that was reintroduced, the information you gave was not the reason I brought it up at the last meeting, but in the new ordinance, section 3-101.1, letter B, number 10, that was clearly changed from the previous ordinance because I said it looked like we had two people doing the exact same job.
Correct.
So it wasn't just the fact that he didn't have anybody report.
That was the
He
statement
didn't
that I
report
had to
anybody.
read. That was the statement that was prepared for me that I had
That,
to
that's
read.
that's a
Thank
minor.
you.
although Mr. Palmieri kind of touched on it, one of my comments today was to try and get an update where we are on the budget. We're now 3 weeks later than I was here last time asking about the budget. We are still not approved. The budget is supposed to be completed by April 30th. There was some talk that we had verbal approval for an additional month. I don't know if anybody ever looked into it, so you can answer that after the fact if you'd like. The other thing is we've talked about a lot of things tonight. You've updated us on a lot of things. The one thing I'm kind of surprised I haven't heard a word on is the two big events that we've had in the last 4 days in this township, and that is the bomb scare over at the retail center and the bomb scare at St. Aloysius Church.
If Director Candido would
I know
like to
he's here,
answer.
I'm not looking to put him on the spot, but the fact that.
I don't know if I can actually respond to that.
The big reason I'm here, I've been coming for a year and a half now, probably, I think that's how long. And the one thing that I've always been confused with is the consent agenda items. They're put on and they're voted on, and the public never, ever has a comment, gets to have a comment on them until after it's voted upon. And I always thought that was strange. Well, I found out it is strange because by doing what you're doing with the consent agenda, you are violating the township code. And I will read to you exactly how the township code reads. It's item 3-9, letter B, consent agenda. Items listed on the agenda which are considered routine by the council shall be placed under a subheading entitled consent agenda. Prior to voting upon any item on the consent agenda, the president or presiding officer shall open the meeting to the public and the council to entertain requests for removal from the consent agenda. It then goes on to say that the only ones that can actually request removal is one of the members on the council. So if I had an issue with the consent agenda, I could state my case, and if one of you disagreed with me, you would say, let's remove it and talk about it separately. I've been coming here a year and a half. I have never heard it open to the public, and I'm sure it probably goes beyond the year and a half that I've been here, but I'm only going to speak to the meetings that I've been to. So it kind of, you're looking at Doge from, you're taking the administration. We are the public. You work for us. I'm going to make sure you guys are following the rules that are stated within the township code. I commend the township clerk because it seems she's going through it and finding items and trying to get it fixed. I know how hard it is to read the township code. I get through about 2 pages every day before I want to fall asleep, which is why I come every meeting with one new item instead of having them all listed at the same time. So
We appreciate that, though.
My item tonight is the consent agenda. Mr. McGuckin, I don't know.
I'll take a look at the ordinance. You're right, it's been the same way for at least the 5 years I've been here, and probably before that, but I'll take a look.
And just so you know, I know at the last meeting, you talked about how the code that's out on the website is not the most updated one. I challenge that because there have been updates made to the code for all the ordinances that have been approved for 25. So if you're adding the 25 stuff to the ordinance on the online stuff, I have to
We
assume
don't
that-
do that, so that's IT, and I did look into that. I did look into that, and it's like, we're going to have to hire a whole new staff to clean that up. I think that was
So-
yeah. I can't control what's been done for the last 20 years, but I did look into it, and there's 19 different director ordinances in there, and it is very, very confusing. Because the clerk.
We need to get a township code that's up to date out on that
So,
website.
Council President, if I could just ask a question to address his question. We had discussed with the mayor, I think about 6 months ago, right, about hiring like a special legal team just to look at our code book and making sure it's updated. Is that something we could maybe have a discussion about? Because we just
can.
want to make sure that when resident looks up the word Jackson code book, all residents are getting the same exact code book,
That's
which
the
is.
problem, is you're not. So we will look into it and get back to you.
If I'm looking online, anybody that looks online should be getting the same code book.
Depending on what you put in the search bar, because I know that the
No,
clerk, we
because
went
right
back.
on the website, it has township code. And if you click on the township code, that's what's coming up.
Madam Clerk?
May I speak?
Yeah, please.
Thank you. So the township code, the code book itself is updated annually. Under new laws is where the new adopted ordinances are listed. What I believe you're referring to is a folder that, no, okay.
It's a link. You
Okay.
can-
We'll look
actually-
into
I'll-
it.
I'll show you
We'll
after
look
the meeting.
into
If you
it.
want to look, if he can put up the website, I will show you after the
No,
meeting
we'll
exactly
we'll
where I'm
look
going.
into it, and then we'll let you know.
But it's clearly, it takes you to a code, and we've had this discussion. It is not up to date.
Okay.
But for some reason.
Again, that's,
when
we
I
have to
looked
look
today,
at IT.
There were 25 codes that were.
No.
So,
updated.
Council President, if I could just address his first issue question about the budget. So, just a follow-up, after that meeting, council did reach out to the administration, ask if we asked permission to meet with the CFO, temporary CFO, and the auditor to go over the budget. After about a week, I sent a follow-up email. I got a response that, this is last week Thursday, that Friday afternoon, they have time. I cleared my schedule. I wasn't given a time. At 1 o'clock, I sent a follow-up email, this is last Friday, asking, when are we meeting? I got an email at 3:30. I am Sabbath observant, so it was a little difficult. I got an email at 3:30 that, 3:30 in the afternoon, that the auditor is available now for a meeting. I wasn't available Friday afternoon at 4 o'clock. And we followed up in the beginning of the week. I think we met Tuesday, Council President? Was it Tuesday?
No,
Today's
Wednesday.
Tuesday.
No, last week. It was
Wednesday.
last Friday. It was.
Well, I
yeah,
have the budget,
yeah.
listen, and I don't want to get into this meeting because it's going to be, it's a whole nother conversation.
Hopefully next meeting.
I have all of the
So
requests.
when is the presentation of the
It's,
budget
that
supposed
I
to
am,
be?
again, I'm not answering that because we're just not ready. We're not at a place. It's just going to open up a can of worms that I don't want to
Mr.
open up right
McGuffey,
now.
Do we have authority to go beyond the deadline of
Yeah.
April 30th?
I can think there's numerous municipalities that have not yet introduced their ordinance, their budget.
I've asked.
There's numerous ones.
We have to look at it. It's a lot. It's a lot. It's
We
a
just-
lot.
I understand it's
We
a
just
lot,
got
but-
We
it.
just met, we
We
just
just
met with
got
the-
it.
Listen, we all have a lot
All
to
right,
do.
I just want to
okay?
be respectful of
We all-
everybody's time,
I
but
know,
the
we all
attorney
have
does
a
want to respond to your code question, sir.
Sir, I'm sorry, if you go on the township code, hit the button like you did,
Yep.
didn't you? You got to go to the end of it, it says new laws, and it lists the ordinances that are not yet in the code book. And it says right in there, these have been approved, they will, once they're back into the code book, it'll be removed from this list. So there's a list of new laws, every ordinance that's been adopted, which is not yet in the code book, because it only gets updated annually, as the Clerk Martin indicated. So
Okay, well-
that-
Thank you.
That's where
In
you'll find it.
regards to my item, it's not something you changed this year, so it should have been updated.
No, I understand, but the
Thank
question
you.
is
All
to,
right.
the new laws are in there.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Hi, ma'am, if you can just state your name and your address.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Gail Carlson. I live at 95 Pebble Beach Boulevard and have for over 21 and a half years. I'm here tonight as a friend of the food pantry. I have worked there probably the better part of 20 of these years, and I've seen many directors come and go, but I see the dedication that volunteers, the directors have, the work they put in behind the scenes. And there is no doubt in my mind, there is a need for this food pantry. And we have 102 square miles. We can't find room to feed the people who haven't got enough money. And they're just so dear, thanking us, thanking us, thanking us. And I want you to know it's a very important effort. And I appreciate any help you can render, because Joy, the present director, she broke down last night with me on the phone. And she's a wonderful woman, and she and her husband both give a lot of time, and her family as well. But I want to support her. I want you to know how much I think it's a worthy effort. And the Bible says, feed my men, and that's my last remark.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Michelle Shaberta. I've lived here for 57 years, all my life. I just pretty much have one request, and I hope you can work this out. I've been kind of tossed around, trying to find out what had happened on our street, on Elm Street, with the lighting. I did speak to the gentleman behind me. Unfortunately, he is told to do what he's supposed to do from the township, between engineering, zoning, code enforcement. May I approach the bench to show you my pictures? Or hand them to you?
Sure. She's in 38 Elm Street, Lake Eno.
I've lived there all my life, born and raised. I'm a second generation. I have my children who are third, and I have my grandchildren who reside here in Jackson, fourth generation. The Crawford Rodriguez School is named after my father. I was one of the slogan contests that started back in 8th grade at Carl Getz School, Jackson, a place for all season. My request is, I love my town, but I do not like what just happened on my street. I enjoy my nights. I like my night. I love looking at my stars. With the lights that happened, there was 10 lights put on our street where there was none. There was always one at the corner, there was one on Maple, there's one. I heard that there was a complaint. The complaint back in 2023. I did lodge a complaint back in 2023. I have my police report, I have my pictures. The neighbor lit up all of Holly, my street, Elm, and I didn't like people blinding my inside of my house. I'm glad that I'm on the other side of this pole because I feel bad for the person across the street from me. I don't object to the lights. What I object to is how bright they are. I live in a residential. I do not live in a park. I do not live in a stadium. So all I'm asking, that the lights can be reduced. According to him, they could put lower LEDs in. I don't think we needed one on every single telephone pole when one wasn't on every single telephone pole. Isn't there anything like, you know?
I have an email, I have an update, that Charles, in regards to Lake Eno, the community, they've received numerous complaints regarding this, and we have spoken with Charles at T&M, who advised he will be speaking with JCP&L about possibly installing a lesser watt bulb so that they are not so bright. He took a ride through the neighborhood himself and witnessed the brightness. He also stated that Mr. Robert Bryce will be in attendance tonight, so he should hopefully be able to answer any questions regarding this. We spoke about this morning. This came from Ms. Novak, the Assistant Business Administrator. It was left in my inbox at 3:39 today, also saying that she wasn't able to attend because she's not feeling well. So that they're working on it, and I believe you spoke with him, so hopefully we can get lesser watts, and maybe, it's just, this kind of goes through what we go through up here, and I'm not in administration, I'm in council, so I do ordinances and resolutions, but I can tell you that our emails come, and like, you are like, these are too many lights, I don't want these lights, I want every other light, and then you have the person next to you that says, I want all these lights down here. And I think that's a happy medium that really is very hard to find right now because we are a growing town and there's so many people that want different things. Some people that, want curbs and sidewalks down the whole street, and somebody's like, I don't want a curb and sidewalk on South Cooks Bridge because I live here because I don't want people walking in front of my house. So it's we just have to come together and come to a meeting of the minds and say, okay, maybe we can lessen the voltage and do every other light. So therefore, it's not as bright for you, but it also allows people that maybe want some lights on there, and it could.
And I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah.
I just want, it's supposed to light the street, then it should be facing down, lighting the street, not people's homes, not, like I said, I lived there all my life.
It's a great neighborhood. I told you when you first came in, I know it very well. So let's look at that. We have this solution, and we're going to speak with
We'll
Mr.
follow up
Bryce.
Mr. Bryce.
We'll follow up with Mr. Bryce and the engineer, and if maybe
Well, he
we'll.
can't make a move without the township or the
Administration, yes,
engineer.
I know.
We will speak to him in the
We-
next couple
we will-
days. We have his cell phone number.
I know. Speed dial, I'm sure. I would appreciate it.
Let me give you your pictures back, ma'am.
No, not a problem, thank you.
okay?
Yeah, sorry.
That's okay. My name is Reverend Victoria Pruner. I live at 755 Reed Road and have lived in Jackson a while, 6-7 years. Before that, I was a Toms River resident. First, I want to thank you all for your commitment to serve as Township Council people. It's something I'm not doing, so I appreciate that. And I also want to thank you that as a councilor, you seem to be on it, but I still want to bring it forward again, is the food pantry. If you didn't do it, I think it's important to find out who believed it to be so necessary that we push the Jackson Food Pantry out to nowhere when we have 100 square miles of people to serve, and some of them are really struggling. And I'm concerned about that. And I hear your concern too, which brings me great hope. But I don't want you to, I know after being here and not just listening online, because you don't listen as well, you have a lot on your plates. I just don't want this to fall through the cracks.
It won't, ma'am.
I appreciate that.
won't.
And again, thank you for your service and for your service, Assembly.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Oh, Carlos.
Carlos Martins, Jackson, New Jersey. Okay. So when I first started, I think it was like a year ago, I started coming up here and talking. And for anyone that remembers, I mentioned that I was going to divide my analysis into the good, the bad, and the ugly. Just for the record, I haven't been able to get to the ugly yet because of time constraints.
We're not complaining.
And probably won't happen tonight either. But luckily, a lot of my residents, fellow residents, have brought up some of the ugly things, like the JCP&L and other stuff. And actually, I think you guys brought up some of the ugly things also, so that's good. So I can't help myself. My mom told me, always start with the good and then lead into the other things. So some things that I've seen lately that are good, I feel are good. We always talk about social media. And some of us like to refer to, I'll use Facebook as an example. We have Facebook, we have Fakebook, right? And I would even say we have hate book as well.
Yeah.
I do encourage the council. I've seen some activity lately that I'm encouraged by, to not allow the fake book and the hate book to silence, the other, the Facebook, right? To put messages out there. I don't want to point to any specific council person, but I know one that uses it very well, and I appreciate that, and puts comments out there and gives us information. It's not just, everybody's kittens and puppies, not just to do the politically correct thing, but actually puts things out there that are important, like the Doge, right? It's not pretty, maybe it's not even politically correct for you guys to come up here and talk about some inefficiencies, but it is important for the town, and I appreciate that. So that was the good. I can't help myself. Okay, some of the bad stuff, I'll just touch some points. The mayor, I have to agree. So I think we pay a part-time mayor, we've deemed that they're worth about $30,000 or something like that, part-time.
32.
30?
32.
Okay, so a rhetorical question is, how much should we pay a no-time mayor? No time, never, here. And from what I hear going on, even back door, there's nothing happening. That is extremely frustrating. I heard somebody say about recalling the mayor or something, whatever I need to do, because I just see no action at all. So anyway, rhetorical question. What I did come specifically to talk about was the Open Space Trust Fund. So I think Ms. Cohen took a lot of my thunder here. But I guess the real question I have is, if I want to get more information about it, right? So I got the code. Here. I printed it out. You're going to tell me it's not updated?
No. What's your question on it? 'Cause
Okay.
I've looked into it, so I might be able
You
to answer
did? Okay. So one of the questions is, it's very specific, the utilization of funds. And it's very specific about acquisition of the property. Not maintenance of the property, not building anything on the property, only use the funds for acquisition. It's very specific.
So that's not updated. So you can use the funds for parks
I
and
knew
recreation.
you were going to say that.
No, you can use to purchase parks and recreations, to purchase
To purchase.
acquisitions. Yes.
Yes, not maintain, right?
I-
Not develop
so-
in any way.
So I can tell you that I requested an audit of the open space
Yep.
account, and I got the monies, but I'm still looking into it. So if you ask your questions, I will write them down, and I will get them answered.
I'll send an email. so
Email
it's
me.
more
That-
specific.
oh,
Yeah? 'Cause,
thank you.
I mean, 29-3, which talks about the utilization of the funds,
Okay.
right? Separate from.
I'm with you.
Yep, separate from 29-4, which is utilization of the land. Okay, so the funds should only be used to acquire land. That's it. You wanna put something on it, those funds come from somewhere else.
I will
But
definitely
anyway,
look into
yeah,
that.
if we could look at that.
Thank
And then
you.
at the very end, what also disturbs me, the sale of the property. So we go through all these lists of what you can use it for and you can't use it for, and then we stuck in there one thing, unless it is needed for another public use. What is that? And who determines if you can use it for anything else? Because you've just negated all these criteria
Well, I
by
can tell
putting
you,
that
so,
last
so
sentence
wait,
in
I
there.
want to answer you, because you know what, that's a great question. I sent an email to the engineer asking that great question, because we do have some properties with houses on them, and I'm asking if the food pantry can have them. So that's what I'm looking into, if it's applicable, if we can get the food pantry to a designated spot, and maybe a parcel or something that we can maybe put a trailer on or something like that, and they
Right.
have a home to go to and looking. So I'm literally just exploring that now, but that is a question that I'm asking.
Okay, yeah, my time, I didn't
Coun-
get to all the
Sorry.
other bad things.
Council President, if I could just
Had
add-
some more good things too, but
If
anyway.
I could just add
sorry.
one thing, I think it
Come
was.
to the next meeting, we love
Yeah,
the
I
good
will.
things.
If I could just add one thing, I think it was when, I think it was Assemblyman was the council president, the town passed a referendum to raise money for open space. I definitely know that the intent, and it passed overwhelmingly, I think it was like 65% of the residents voted for it. The intent of that vote, I remember being by the council meeting when it was explained,
Right.
was in order to purchase open space. The council, previous council president was on it, Mr. Borelli were on it, passed a ordinance to create an open space committee. I was on that committee last year. Unfortunately, it was, after 3 or 4 meetings, we realized it was a waste of time because we were told that we weren't allowed to negotiate with anyone. We weren't allowed to really do
Everything was
anything.
getting rejected.
And after going to 3 or 4 meetings, we basically stopped going. And this year, last year, the town went ahead and bought parks, and we can talk about if that's the ideal. And the shame of it all was we could have used grants to pay for those parks, which, by the way, many of those parks were put in our schools, which are actually, one of those schools is actually sold to a private school. So you think about it, we took taxpayer open space money, we bought a park, we put it in a public school, which was sold to a private school, which
That's not going to use it.
doesn't make any sense. So we definitely support a proper
Yeah.
oversight and an audit, which Council President has requested.
Yeah, I appreciate that. So those are the good things. I'm glad you guys are on top
Yeah.
of it. Thank you very much. I did have other things, but
Next
time
time.
is up.
Thank you, sir.
Seeing no one else come forward, make a motion to close public comment. Oh, I see one
Motion.
resident.
My address, 53 Dowling Lane in Jackson, and, that's, my parents' address. Lisa Pereira, 53 Dowling Lane, Jackson. I taught in Marlboro High School 19 years as a marketing education teacher, coordinator, deck advisor. I lived in Jackson 32 years. I owned 2 brand-new homes. I was married 16 years, and I am a parent, a mom, and I was, like I said, a teacher. And I subbed in all the schools in Jackson years ago. I know many of the teachers in all the schools, elementary, middle school, high school. I have master's credits in administration guidance. I'm certified in special ed, elementary ed. And something very terrible had happened years ago that Judge Hotkins took my home away. And it's been devastating. And I didn't know anything. And I use the example that a 10-year-old can read a credit report, HOUSING, and there was no debt on my credit. So I should have called the state police on the spot. It took a year. I went to court. Every time I went to court, I paid $50 in Toms River. And it's been devastating. And it's hurt family traditions, gatherings. I use the quote, table of conversation, that celebrations, haven't happened in my home, holidays, birthdays. People, friends and family haven't opened doors like they should. People have collected a lot of donations and a lot of people steal, and it's unbelievable because there's a lot of cash. and people work and have meetings at hotels and restaurants, and it's unbelievable. So our family's gone through a big crisis, and there has been a lot of people that have pulled together, but also a lot of people have stolen, and they have to come forward and they have to pay. They have to give us, the donations that our family deserves. And I believe in Jackson, you have to have a permit to collect donations. That's what, I've been told. I am also on the Board of Elections, and I've been on the Board of Elections for a long time in Jackson. Let's see. Just a big thing is that people have to, family and friends have to pull together and not be judgmental. And it's very important that people aren't jealous or envious of other people. There's a lot of people out there that sometimes, just want what other people have. They're just not satisfied with what they have, and they just don't appreciate, what they have. And there's just people that just pick up the phone and just randomly, just constantly, just like to report that different things to law enforcement when they have to. There's called defamation of character. There's privacy. There's confidentiality. People have to obey HIPAA laws, and people have to be mature, and they just have to be put in their place. So it's up to police and law enforcement in the towns to make sure that these people are acting properly, and they need to be reported. The people that aren't minding their own business and breaking HIPAA laws. Skype is out there, but Skype should be used properly. A man that I've been seeing for years, Dr. Frank Savage, his nephew is Lauren MacGyver. He's a captain in Point Pleasant. And, they're highly respected people, and, they help. And I report safety and, health to him often. And he, really helps the community and society. He lives in Tom's River, and like I said, he's a captain, Lauren MacGyver in Point Pleasant. I have it's almost 59 pages document for my pension. I'm getting a low pension in the state of New Jersey, and I have letters from President Donald Trump and letters from former President Joe Biden. And I'm hoping they change this soon and up my pension a lot, and I'm not getting any coordinator's pay. I brought Marlboro High School, marketing to Marlboro High School back years ago, and I was a teacher coordinator, visited the students on their jobs, helped place them, they helped get their own jobs. I knew the students there, the assistant managers, the managers, owners of the businesses, and I was a DECA advisor. I took students on competitions to regional, states, nationals, went to Colorado, Florida, and a lot of times states was overnight also, and that's a great, big responsibility, big liability. I did meet Donald Trump also in Atlantic City at one time, so that was exciting before he was president in the casino in Atlantic City. Let's see. I did want to know when the Board of Education meeting is.
Third Wednesday of every month.
Okay, all right, because I was.
Thank you, ma'am.
all right,
Thank you for
thank
attending.
Okay,
Appreciate
thank
it.
you, Thank you.
You have a great night.
Thank you.
Seeing no one else come forward, make a motion to close public comment.
Motion.
Aye.
Approved.
Motion to close.
Motion to close.
Second. Aye.
Aye.
Have a great night.
Have a great night, everyone.